Yay, we're on chapter 3! Woo! I don't even know where that came from, but okay, we'll go with it. Forgive me. For some reason I hack up a lung even though my cold is completely gone. But as promised, here is chapter 3. Yep, chapter 3. And this is the chapter with the after effects of the slasher movie gore chapter anyway. But yeah, as a disclaimer, this is something that is definitely not kid-friendly, as I always say in the beginning. Not kid-friendly, don't bring your kids, lots of blood, guts, gore, action. The mention of self-harm, as stated in previous chapter, there was a scene of abuse, and there is a scene of torture later on, and murder by serial killer and demon. I sound way too cheerful for that to actually be, like, really kind of... Yeah, I sound too cheerful with that. That's kind of scary.
That's fucking
Anyway, as promised, chapter 3 of... Hold up, let me mark my page so I don't have to go looking for it. Of Reaper Adventures, The Surge. Okay. This is a scarily accurate, song that's going on in the background. For anyone who's interested, it is called Hide and Seek. It is a Vocaloid. Look for the one with English lyrics. And if you hear it in your sleep, you're a psychopath. Not literally, but still. Okay. As I said, forgive my voice. Chapter 3 is what we're on, so chapter 3 I will read. Chapter 3. Payne woke the following day and got ready for school. His ribs and abdomen were horribly bruised. Splotches of black and purple covered Payne's ribs, stomach, and sides. Now, as in previous chapters, there was the scene of abuse, so that's why that's there. Anyway, I shall continue. Payne knew that the only reason there were bruises this bad was because something had broken and had healed overnight. No matter what, Payne had always healed at a much more rapid pace than anyone he had ever met. Broken bones healed overnight, cuts healed within seconds, sometimes minutes, depending on the depth of the cuts. Bruises, on the other hand, healed within a couple of days when they were this extreme. The bruises were barely there most of the time. Payne put on clean clothes, grabbed the breakfast he knew to take or he would go hungry, and swiftly and silently left. I honestly can't say I blame him for that. I think I would too. He then breathed a sigh of relief when he knew he had left unnoticed. Aww. Payne then headed to school, waving a greeting as Snow met him at the end of her driveway. Victor and Kristoff met Payne and Snow, holding hands as Payne and Snow met them. Clover met the four of them next, and then Scarlet grunted her greeting as they met her. Over the course of the day, Snow had noticed that Payne was walking slightly different. By the time the school day ended, Payne was walking normally again, though, and they were all waiting with the 13-year-old for the Viking Man, as Payne had aptly nicknamed Loki. Well, I mean, Loki was a Viking, so Loki did look like he belonged on a battlefield, slaughtering soldiers and pillaging villages. When Loki arrived, Mescanet, whose name Snow knew she would more than likely butcher, thanked them and had asked if they could wait with her again. They had all agreed. Payne waved a goodbye as he went to his new job. Payne had landed the job at Jeromson Hospital as a maintenance worker. Jeromson is the name of this fictional town, just so everyone is aware, this is a work of fiction. If there are any coincidences to actual people or events, that is just a coincidence. Complete fiction. Anyway, Jeromson is the name of the town. Then he had landed the job at Jeromson Hospital as a maintenance worker. Yay! He worked Thursday evenings, Friday evenings, Saturdays, and Sundays. According to Payne's co-workers, Payne was the best maintenance worker, always making sure he made everything as clean as he possibly could. Remember, this is a hospital. It's usually pretty dirty. Even though they say it's clean. That's where most people get sick, is from hospitals. Anyway, Continuing, my brain is a well of useless information, but we're going to continue. Payne was headed to the bus stop when an uneasy feeling settled in his stomach. Something didn't feel right. Excuse me, I have to drink some soda. Because soda. Payne slowed his walk and made sure he reached the bus stop before stopping and looking around at the other people waiting for the bus with him. They didn't seem to notice Payne glancing at them. Either that or they didn't care. They also didn't seem to notice something felt wrong now. Payne got on the bus as it arrived, paid the toll, and sat in his normal spot. It still felt wrong. Whatever it was, it felt malicious. Oh my god, like the fart that just heard. Anyway. Payne put his headphones in and turned his music on, hoping that whatever the malicious thing was would turn out to be his imagination. It wasn't Payne's imagination, however. Payne instantly walked into a bloody mess when he stepped into work. All of the ER had turned into a crime scene straight from a gory horror movie. Well, I don't know what I was trying to say before, but pronunciation is key. From a gory horror movie. Thank you. Please be patient. The patients that were obviously the victims of some gruesome whatever were dying horribly and painfully. The nurses were busy while Payne heard the ER doctor begin to announce times of death, a priest by his side to perform the last rites if allowed by the family. Payne swallowed and headed to punch in, refusing to let his horror show. He punched in, changed into his work clothes, knowing he would have blood on them by the end of the night, and began to clean the now unoccupied, bloodied ER rooms. Oh my god, lots of blood everywhere, blood. Anyway. Gloves he had opted for, and he removed the blood-stained blankets and sheets as well as changed the mattress, which had been soaked beyond repair or cleaning. By the time Payne was finished with that task, he mopped the blood from the floor. I told you there was lots of blood in this. Sorry about that. But it goes well. That wasn't supposed to be, sounding happy. Anyway. He had changed his gloves on more than one occasion, and had decided to keep a pair on for the night. Yeah, because who knows what diseases blood has. Anyway. "We've got another one," the receptionist told the weary nurses. By now, the regular doctor had joined the ER doctor, more maintenance workers had arrived, and the nurses had seemingly tripled over the course of the waves of the horribly mangled victims. The nurses, as weary as they were, instantly sprang into action, making sure there were enough beds, medicine, and staff to handle what they hoped was the last wave of horror victims. Because horror victims. Yeah, horror victims. It was only one individual. She was somehow still alive, though her wounds should have killed her long before she arrived. She was spewing something in a language that no one had heard. The priest crossed himself, muttering prayers under his breath. She seemed to hear the prayers and hissed at the priest. Payne saw the priest pale and the prayers seemed to evaporate from him. Soda. Yep. Payne saw the priest pale and the prayers seemed to evaporate from him. Okay, we did that. The female chuckled, though she shouldn't have been able to since her throat had been shredded to ribbons. Oh my god. God, I really do write gory stuff. I'm so sorry. Payne watched as the nurses cautiously entered the room after the paramedics gave them the report and status of the female. Though they somehow managed to save her life, they left the room with an eagerness Payne had never seen. The faces were drawn, and though Payne knew that they had seen much more than him, they now had a haunted expression. One of them stopped to inform Payne that the bedding would need to be changed before apologizing to him, shuddering and walking away. Payne watched the nurse and then glanced at the room with the female. He didn't want to go in the room. Payne took a steadying breath and then forced himself to enter the room. The female was awake and sitting upright as she watched Payne reluctantly enter her room. Bedding. Payne managed to tell her, his voice barely audible to himself. The female seemed to hear him perfectly, and she pointed to the bloody bedding beside the mattress. Payne forced himself to step closer to the female. He hurriedly grabbed the bloody bedding and then realized with horror that he would have to move the female. Payne knew the female knew that he would have to move her. He hated the fact he would have to offer her his back to ride so he could move her. He reluctantly allowed her to climb onto his back. She did this eagerly, and Payne barely repressed his shudder. He made sure she was comfortable in the uncomfortable chair before changing the mattress as well as the bedding. He then moved her back to the bedding, making sure she was comfortable again before giving her 3 freshly warmed blankets. Because we all love those blankets that come fresh from the warmer. Oh yeah, those are nice. They will find you, little infant. They will not stop looking until they do. You best get used to being hunted, little rabbit, the female told Payne as he was about to leave her room. Payne stopped in his tracks and looked at the female over his shoulder. She chuckled and then licked her lips as if he was something she wanted to kill and devour. That's kind of scary. Payne left the room, closing the curtain, and then noticed that he was beginning to tremble. Payne left and went to the maintenance closet, grabbed the bloodied... Oh, wow, this one's a short one. Grabbed the bloodied linen's bag in his cart and put them in the biohazard trash, because he knows all bloodied and everything. It's got to go in the biohazard trash. You don't know what diseases are in blood. Slowly, Payne was able to steady his nerves and realized that he had worked extreme overtime tonight. The ER doctor told Payne to clock out and thanked him for staying overtime tonight. Payne only nodded, clocked out, and headed home. The malicious thing was still around, though, and Payne knew that tonight was only the beginning. That was actually pretty short, comparatively speaking, to the other 2. Anyway. But, yay, Chapter 3 is done. Chapter 4 will be next week, and I'm not doing a 2-chapter special, so no, that's not happening. Sorry to disappoint. But, you're all just gonna have to wait until next Monday. Sorry. But, no 2-chapter special. Anyway, Chapter 4 is up next Monday. Chapter 3 was relatively short, surprisingly, but I mean, that's a good thing. Not a bad thing. Now I'm all leaving you with a cliffhanger. Oh no, the horror. But don't worry, you won't be torn apart by a demon. You'll survive. Anyway, I'm going to call it a night here and say that there's a piece of paper falling from my cup first before saying peace out, Girl Scouts, and enjoy the mental hilarity. Have a nice night.